Hi again, everybody. I'm glad you could join us again for the reading of the Action Bible. So, this time on the Action Bible reading, we're going to explore a guy named Abram and his wife, Sarai. This is the first time that we're going to meet these people. And we're going to follow them for just a little bit and see what happens with their family. This first part that we're going to read is called God Calls Abram, based on Genesis 11 through 12. Okay, so here we go. Many years pass. People forget about the God who created them. They move down the Euphrates River and build the great trading city of Ur. Ur is a land of plenty, with plenty of different gods. But the one true God speaks to a young man named Abram.
Abram, why are you out here in the middle of the night?
Sorry, God has spoken to me. He said to leave my father's family, my country, and the false gods of Ur behind me. He said to travel to a land that he will show me. There he will make our family a great nation, and all the people on the earth will be blessed through me.
It will be scary to leave everything we know and our families, but we will trust the Lord to keep his promise. How do you think your father will take the news?
Not well.
Abram can't leave me behind in my old age. And Lot, you're his nephew. Since your father's dead, it's Abram's responsibility to take care of you too. We're going with him. Abram obeys God by leaving Ur, but he disobeys by not leaving his old life behind. His father, Terah, comes along bringing his many idols with him. Seriously, Abram, it's better to worship all the gods. That way you don't offend one by leaving him out.
Worshipping other gods offends the one true God.
God leads Terah, Abram, and the rest of their families to the rich land of Haran. Even though the land is beautiful and fertile, God does not want them to settle there. But Terah loves this new land and he wants to retire there. Out of respect for his father, Abram stays in Haran, putting off his pursuit of God's promise. One day, Terah dies. Abram is now the head of the tribe. He immediately takes charge.
Load up the animals.
What are your plans for the tribe, Master?
God has called me to take my family and leave Haran. I will continue to seek his promised land.
I'm with you, Uncle Abram.
Abram leads his tribe through the surrounding lands. For several years, he and his extended family live the life of wandering nomads. But then a famine sweeps through the land. Abram doesn't have enough food to support his tribe. He decides his only choice is to lead his people to Egypt, a powerful nation with plenty of food. But he has some fears about his plan.
Sarai, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm afraid that when Pharaoh sees you, he will fall in love with you. Since I'm your husband, he'll kill me so that he can marry you. We must pretend to be brother and sister.
That sounds very unlikely, but I'll do what you ask.
But Abram's prediction comes true. Pharaoh falls for Sarai's loveliness. Thinking Abram is her brother, Pharaoh gives him lots of money and gifts and asks Sarai to be his wife. But before Pharaoh can marry her, God intervenes to save his chosen family.
Plagues!
God strikes the Egyptians with disease, so they will let Abram and Sarai go in peace. They give Abram food and money and send him and his family on their way. Thankful for their close escape, Abram and Sarai realize how foolish their plan was.
Sarai, forgive me. I did not seek God's help. I was a coward and trusted in my own plots to save us.
I forgive you, my husband.
From now on, I will trust God. I can only pray that he forgives me.
I'm sure God forgives you, Abram. After all, he protected us in Egypt even when we forgot to trust him.
I'll never try to outsmart God's plan for us again.
I just hope this is the last time I have to pretend to be your sister.
Wow. What an interesting story, huh? And what an interesting way to meet Abram and his family. If I learned anything from this story today, it would probably be that trusting in God's way is always the best. But he does forgive us when we disobey him or turn and go the other way. I also learned that he works everything out kind of for our good, it seems like. I know that that Abram was following God. He wanted to follow God. And he ended up with a lot of money and a lot of animals and gifts, it said, from Egypt. And that ended up helping his family, I'm sure, after that famine. So even though they went through that weird thing, and I'm sure Sarai didn't probably have a very fun time, God ended up working it out for them, and he saved them because they were seeking him. And that is a really neat thing. So we'll see what happens next time with Abram and Sarai and Lot, his nephew. We're going to look at some mysterious visitors that come and visit Abram. And we'll see what happens with Lot and his family. And we'll also look at a vision that God gives to Abram about his future. And we'll look at all those things next time as we read more of the Action Bible.